Talking about Brave here today. Oh, talking about Brave today, the new film from Disney Pixar.
Yes.
We got to see it 2 weeks before anyone else at a critic screening. It was a very interesting experience. This is a very important movie for multiple reasons. One, it is a rare time in film in which we get to see a strong female protagonist, which, I just wrote a blog about how there needs to be more strong female protagonists. I am glad to finally see this getting done, but it's also a very important film because after the last Pixar film, they need a win. They need to get back in the game.
Yes, people, just remember, just because a movie company made a few bad movies does not mean they're done for, and Brave is a good example of that. Pixar still has it, so don't lose faith in them.
Yeah, let's just get right to it. We like this movie.
Yes.
Because that is the thing that everyone has been wanting to know. Is this movie good? Because after Cars 2... not even DreamWorks in their early days would have touched that shit. And a lot of people are worried because, I can't remember the movie it's from, but there's some quote from a movie. If anybody knows, leave it in the comments below. The quote was something along the lines of, if you can make God bleed, people will stop believing in him. And Cars 2 was basically Pixar, getting pricked on the finger and people just going, hey, you're just a bunch of guys making movies. You're not special. But yeah, so I'm glad that we got to go and see this movie. By the way, for anybody tuning in for the first time, I'm Aaron, this is Michelle.
Hello.
And today, we're here with stuff in our throats. That's the thing I'm going to keep in. Out of all the flubs we've made, I'm going to keep that one bit in. But we're here today to talk about the new Disney Pixar film, Brave. Which, it's a film about... Oh shit, what's her name?
Merida?
Yeah, it's a film about Merida, this princess from Scottish Highlands, and basically her mom wants her to marry one of the princes from the other Highland kingdoms.
They're not really princes. They're
they're
more like sons of the clan leaders.
There you go, yeah. They're sons of the clan leaders. They're the guys who in 500 years are going to be the dudes in Knuckle that we saw just beating the crap out of each other. Her mother wants her to marry one of the sons of the heads of these other clans so that the kingdom can go on. She's saying that this was her duty, that because she's a girl, this is what it's all been leading up to. But Merida, she's a tomboy. She wants to get out there, go riding, shoot arrows, go on wild adventures. She doesn't want to be tangled down and forced to, wear a dress, and she wants to be herself. She wants to be more like her dad, who was this great big adventurer, played incredibly well by Billy Connolly. That's the thing about Pixar films. Let's just say this right now, one of the ways that you can always tell it's a Pixar film is because DreamWorks, they say, oh, who the star of our movie's gonna be? Star of our movie is gonna be Ben Stiller. It's gonna be Jack Black. It's gonna be Chris Rock. It's gonna be Will Ferrell. Those are the stars of our movies. Brad Pitt. We got Brad Pitt in this movie. That's the star of our movie. Pixar, they're the folks that go, who's the star of our movie? You see all those hundreds of billions of little pixels up there on that screen? That's the motherfucking star. You are an afterthought, mister.
Yeah, it's like, I remember, seeing How to Train Your Dragon, and I remember, one of the biggest complaints was how none of the main characters had, any accents, since they're supposed to be Vikings and everything. They're all, just, celebrity voices, they don't really have any accents to work with, so...
Jonah Hill isn't Scottish? Oh, no, I don't know what Jonah Hill is. I almost made a very mean fat joke, but he's not fat anymore. He's not fat.
He's only fat if he gets paid enough. No, but it's in Brave they actually have, Scottish actors and voice actors and everything. It's actually the people behind us kept laughing at their accent, and I'm like, hey, shut up, at least it's real.
Yes, exactly. It was very real, and that was the thing, is that once again, in this Pixar film, it is amazing performances. It may be some of my favorite Pixar performances. It's hard to say. It's hard to choose any Pixar film as being my favorite when it comes to the performances, because they always knock it out of the park, except, of course, with the Cars franchise. Speaking of How to Train Your Dragon, I've always joked that it seemed like one day a guy from Pixar and a guy from DreamWorks were walking down the street, turned the corner, and then bumped into each other, and they both just gathered their things, and then by accident, the Pixar guy picked up the script for Cars, and the DreamWorks guy picked up the script for How to Train Your Dragon, because they definitely seemed like something got crossed there. But, yeah, going back to what the plot of this movie is, it's that, Merida, she doesn't want to get married to these guys. She doesn't want that to be her fate. She wants to go off and have adventures.
She wants to change her fate.
Exactly.
And that's basically the whole premise of the movie is deciding your own fate and everything.
Exactly. She goes off and she finds this witch and asks for a potion to change her fate. And that's really all I can tell, because the trailers for this movie did an amazing job of hiding exactly what happens after she gets this potion. Like, I did not know what the plot twist was going to be. And we've been reading a couple of other reviews, and there have been some people who have actually kind of been ticked off about what the plot twist was. I think it was a great plot twist to it. We can't really say what it is because we're not going to reveal it, but
it just makes me think of another point. It's like I know there are people who complain when a trailer explains too much in a movie, and then there are people, and then they decide, oh, well then we'll just show you the silly parts that are funny and don't really have anything to do with the plot. And then now people are complaining that the trailer is misleading and it's not showing a plot or anything. And
yeah, there is an art to making a really good trailer, knowing how much to show and how much not to show. And you know what? In this, I might have to come down on their side a little bit, because I went into this movie and I had seen the trailers and I was expecting this to be some big, glorious epic, like some kind of she's out there, it's a mythical land, and she is roaming the countryside. She has to save her entire kingdom or something. It's not that at all. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It is not that at all. It is a very small movie. It is, this may contain the fewest sets of any, I don't know if sets is the right
more
term.
Like cast, because there's a lot of background characters, but there's only a handful of main characters with actual speaking roles.
Oh yeah, when those credits started rolling, the cast list was done like that. There's only 12 or something, 12 speaking roles in this whole thing, I think, and I might be being generous on that one. But yeah, it's a very small cast, very few locations actually. It's the kingdom, her castle, the big Stonehenge looking thing that you see in all the trailers, the witch's house, and there's one other that
forest.
The forest. Yeah, that's it. That's all the locations. That's pretty much all the locations in the entire movie.
Well, there's another location, but that would be giving away spoilers.
Yeah, so. And also it's only in there for 2 minutes, maybe.
But it's important because it does explain the plot. So once again,
cool.
I'm not saying it because of spoilers.
It's a very cool location. I'll give them that. But yeah, and that is the thing is that, if you go on Rotten Tomatoes right now, you'll notice that this movie's been getting a lot of negative reviews. And I've read through all of them, and almost all of them are, this is not the movie I wanted. This is not, this is not what I came in here expecting. And you know what? I'll admit, when I was sitting in that theater, I was expecting some big epic adventure. I was expecting thrills and creatures and, traveling to distant lands and an exploration and an epic. And then when I saw that that's not what they wanted at all. They wanted this to be small. In fact, you mentioned to me that this is probably not just Pixar, but Disney's most family-centered storyline, at least with their princesses.
Yeah, it's if you guys notice in, I can't really say for Pixar since they never made a princess movie before. This is their first, but as far as Disney goes, as far as family concerns about the princess, you always see the family either in the beginning and maybe in the end, but never in the entire movie. They're always left out, and they're just there because, they gave birth to a princess, and that's it, and they have no other purpose. But in this movie, the plot of the movie actually does center around Merida and her family. So I think that's a nice. I think that's a good a turn because people can relate to little kids can relate to disagreeing with their parents and everything.
Yeah, I mean the entire movie is basically about the father loves his wife, so he's going to go along with it, but at the same time he supports the daughter and the mother are very cross with each other and very angry at each other. And it's about the two of them trying to basically come to terms with each other. And yeah, as I was saying, I was sitting there and I was going, this is not the movie I was expecting. This is not the movie I was wanting. But you know what? This is the metaphor I can use for it. If you see a seafood restaurant and you go, oh, seafood restaurant, that means there's going to be lobster. I'm going to go in there and get a big lobster feast. And then you go in there and you go, we don't serve lobster here, but here's some salmon. And then you take the salmon and you go and you eat it, and it's the best salmon you've ever had in your life. It is, well, maybe not the best, but incredibly good salmon. Fantastic salmon. You have two options at that point. You can either go, well, you know what, this isn't what I was expecting, but this is some damn good salmon. Or you can be a fucking douchebag and just go, but I wanted lobster. And that's what that's what most of the critics who have been getting angry at this on Rotten Tomatoes seem to be to me. It seems to just be a bunch of people going, I was wanting lobster. Where is this going? I didn't want salmon. I don't know why they were very effeminate, all the negative reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, I never!
Yes, they're the fat ladies in the Three Stooges episodes.
But if you guys really do want a brave trailer that actually does, explain the plot better and gives you a better idea of what it's about, the Japanese version definitely, like the trailer for the Japanese, for Japan and everything, that does a better job at it. So.
Yeah, but I don't think you even, I think as long as you realize this is not a big epic, and that this is actually a very small little, I mean, it's almost like as if an indie film, if this was live action, it would almost be like if an indie film wanted to make a Celtic mystic story. Because it's almost like, yeah, we've only got this one location for this, for these 3 days, and we've only got this many actors, but you know what, we're going to make something that really touches your heart with that. It almost kind of seems like that. And I know a lot of people are going to go, well, that kind of seems like wasted potential because, it's animated, so you could go so much bigger with it. But, once again, this is Pixar. They're the guys who go, yeah, that's not the story we want to tell. We wanted to do something sweet and nice and heartwarming. And I mean, yeah, they're at the very end of the movie. Those ladies who you said were laughing behind us, they were tearing up at that. They were, I mean, I kind of have to take a few points off of my review myself simply because it didn't make me cry, and I'm not trying to be some big, strong man by saying that, because...
No, you cry very easily.
Michelle will tell you, when it comes to movies, I cry at the drop of a hat. I cried through Garden State. I couldn't even leave the theater when the credits started rolling for that film, because I had to try and stop crying before the lights came on.
Well, just because there's an emotional scene doesn't mean you had to be bawling your eyes out. As long as you feel something.
I did feel something, but I was like, I knew this was where it was going.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to take a few points off because it was very predictable. I knew what the solution was trying to be, and it's I knew it was going to kind of get to this moment. But then again,
I think it's I don't know for sure if it is, but I think it looks like it was based off an old fairy tale or something, and you know how fairy tales are, they're predictable, but they're still enjoyable, so...
Exactly, and even though it didn't, I kind of saw it coming, it still is good. I mean, and especially if you have a kid who hasn't seen 1,000 other films before, they're totally going to be completely sold on this. And even if you have, it still touches your heart. Let's talk a little bit about, by the way, speaking of the family, Merida also has 3 little brothers who
Triplets.
Triplets, who I don't think ever talk throughout the whole thing. And I've been watching the trailers for this thing and all the commercials, and they play up those triplets a whole lot, and I was really worried that it was just going to be, they're there,
They're there just for comic relief and nothing else.
Just for comic relief, but also to, get the kids, going.
Yeah, it's...
And I was afraid it was going to be oh yeah, they're the wisecracking kids, and they didn't seem like that at all. I went into this almost expecting to hate them.
Yeah.
And I really liked them. They were such fun characters.
And not only that, but not only were they fun, but they also did help move the story along. And
that's very true.
Yeah, and you don't really see that with a lot of, wacky sidekick characters these days. They're just usually there for, laughs and, to get the little kids to go see the movies. You don't, but, to actually see them, move the story along is, nice too.
It really was, and I mean, it wasn't even just the kids. This honestly might be the funniest Pixar film I've ever seen. I've laughed at other Pixar films, but I mean, I was rolling at this one. A lot of which has to do with Billy Connolly and pretty much all the other heads of the other clans. Each of them, I think, are comedic actors. And they got them to come in and did fantastic jobs being funny. Like Craig Ferguson, who, I'm sorry, he may be my favorite guy on Late Night at the moment. He does a great job with with Lord Macintosh. And each of the three clans, heads of the other clans, they each have a son who's competing for, and they each have their own little gag. And that was one of the other things I got to take a few points off, is that this film is really short. It's barely an hour and a half long, I think, and it's I can guarantee you that if you got the script for this, there would be at least another 20 pages that got cut. And I wanted to see so much more of a lot of these characters, especially those three sons. Each of them has their own little gag to them, and they didn't get old. And I was like, I could have seen these guys at least twice, maybe even 3 times more, and still enjoyed each of their little gags. One of them is this big, doe-eyed guy who just looks incredibly innocent, but he's got the most Gaelic accent you've ever heard, so no one understands him. I laughed my ass off at that every time it came up. I wanted to see that keep coming back. Or the big monster of the film. You only really see him 3 times, and I know there's that rule of 3s, but I kept going, I really want to see more of this. I keep kind of forgetting he's there. I don't know, maybe that was just me, though, but because, yeah, some people might think this is the perfect time, but to me it was I wanted more to this. I wanted...
Yeah, but then at the same time, you said that the story is very simple, so if you add more to it, it might be too much, it might be too much filler.
That's the thing, is that, how do you keep it small while still making the story a little bit longer? Because, it is, it's a fairly short story, and it moves very fast. The potion that changes her fate, she has to undo it by the next day's morning, and I was like, damn, this movie is taking place in one day. This moves fast. Let's talk a little bit about the animation. You're the animation expert between the two of us. How do you think it was handled compared to... I mean, it's Pixar, so it's going to be good, but compared to other Pixar films, how do you say?
Well, from what I hear, John Lasseter, the reason why he made Cars 2 was, cash in and everything, and for the money, and... Well, I just want to say that money has been put to good use, because the animation in this movie... It was very top notch. I mean, the way Merida's hair moved and everything, and there was one scene. There was they just take a shot of a river and a salmon or some sort of other fish swimming through it, and it looked so realistic. I thought it was an actual, an actual they actually filmed it instead of animation, but no, it was there, and it was it's you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet, and that's what Pixar did when they made Cars 2. They had to cash in on the money and everything in order to pay for the good animation, the great animation on this movie. So
yeah, and bears play a very large part in this movie. Her dad had his leg lost to this giant demon bear creature, and there's a couple of other bears there for comedic relief, but also they play into the story. And I thought the animation on them was great, because they try and make the bears look very human. As sometimes, and other times they try and make them seem, like actual bears. I thought it was a great little balancing act there.
Yeah, it's another interesting thing about this movie. It's in most Disney movies, the animal sidekicks have human-like personalities, and get into wacky adventures and everything. But in this movie, the animals are more realistic, except for the
main, there's an animal sidekick she gets at some point.
Yes, and once again, that I don't want to give away any spoilers, but other than those animal sidekicks, like the actual animals in the movie really do act and behave like real animals. So
yeah. Speaking of the animation, the head, they originally assigned a female director to be the head of this, Brenda Chapman, who did Prince of Egypt, which was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But, and I thought that was a great idea, because they were definitely trying to push, hey, women can be strong characters too, so again, a female director in there, I thought was a great idea. But they actually had to bump her down to co-director, because she had such a big image of this in her head that she actually, this is like an actual fact from it, the movie was taking so long to make because she wanted the film to take place at winter, and she wanted every single snowflake to have its own Scottish hieroglyphic on it.
Oh, wow. That's really detailed.
Yes.
As much money as Cars 2 raked in, as much money as the Cars franchise raked in, I don't know if it can pull off that.
I think John Lasseter came in and went, we're not making Cars 3, motherfucker. You get this down to budget. But still, getting her bumped down, even if, her ideas were too big, I think you can definitely tell that a lot of her great ambitions came across in this. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are lots of sweeping landscapes that look fantastic in this. Going back to the fact that this is a strong female protagonist, I think they pulled it off very well. And, once again, those 3 or 4 talkative women behind us, the whole time, they were just like, oh, yes! Just, damn, girl, yeah!
You go, girl!
They were totally into it. And it's like, it feels so good to, because I used to work in a movie theater, and I would watch, women coming out of those Resident Evil piece of shit films, just going, damn, that girl was so badass. And I was like, can't we get a real female protagonist to let them know what a real strong female character is?
It's like when women praise Sucker Punch for being, like, a feminist movie, which is total bullshit.
By the way, I'd like to point out we have the TV on mute in the background, and an ad for a 1-800-WE-ARE-18 phone line, sex phone line, just came on while we were talking about strong female protagonists. It's like all media is against us at this moment.
I hate being a woman now. Things would be so much easier if I were a man with a penis that I can just shove in everyone's face and I'd be like, fuck you, I own this place.
As a man, I can say that doesn't work everywhere. I've been thrown out of numerous bars because they did not take kindly to that behavior in their establishments.
No, but if I show everyone my boobs at a bar, I get free drinks.
See, it works in different places.
Yes, I guess.
What movie were we talking about again? How did we get here? But no, I used to watch people, going on like Sucker Punch and all that. You people need to understand there's a difference between a strong female character and a female character that happens to be strong, a female character that happens to have muscles. This is such a great female character because she basically says, hey, I want to decide my own fate. I do not want to just be the girl. I do not want someone to tell me this is my role because this is my gender. There's a moment in there in which, they have to put her in the corsage, and it's basically an entire scene dedicated to saying, this is incredibly humiliating and demoralizing. You should not be forcing us into roles. And do you think the message comes across? Because, like I said, the 3 or 4 ladies behind us, they were so getting into this, and it was making me so happy. But do you feel that came across?
Yes, I did, and I know, I was like, believe it or not, there were like some people out there who were concerned it might be too feminist. It's like, ooh, girl power and all that, but no, it's not like that. It's not about women being better than men or anything like that. It's about having the courage to choose your own fate, hence the name Brave Doy.
Yeah, I don't want anybody, I know I'm praising this for creating a strong female character, but I don't want anybody to come in here and think, oh, well, then that means it's going to be this big feminist film, and it's going to be nothing but just saying women are better than men for an hour and a half. That's not it at all. This movie is to female protagonists what almost all male protagonist films are out there to men.
Mm-hmm.
It really is basically saying, I can be a badass and it doesn't have to, and my gender doesn't matter. I never at once in this film watched it and went, you know what, I bet if I was a girl I would be getting this a lot better. No, it plays on all levels to every single audience. And that's one of the things I've always been saying about strong female characters is that the best way to create a strong female character is to create the character and create the story.
Yeah, it's like gender should not have anything to do with the character, it's the personality.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if you look at a show like Legend of Korra, yes, this time the Avatar is a girl, but her being a girl doesn't give her superpowers over other characters, or it also doesn't make her weaker and more vulnerable compared to, the previous male version of the character. It's just a really strong character, and I'm glad to see that this year Hollywood and the entertainment business is completely waking up to that, and this film really succeeds on that level.
Also, a strong female character does not mean having to be dressed in scantily cladded clothing. She's in a dress in the entire movie, really, so it's
but it's a dress that's like beat up and ripped. The dress is ripped, but it's not like ripped and exposing flesh. It's ripped and exposing another shirt underneath, because it's basically like showing that she gets beat up out there in the wilderness just like anybody else would. And yeah, you're right, you don't have to expose flesh to be a female protagonist. I don't care what Frank Miller says, you don't empower women by making them whores.
You hear that, Mortal Kombat?
Oh, Jesus Christ. It was hard for me to play that game. That was too much. But yeah, let's move on. Yeah, we're about at time here. What's your score? What if you had to... We need to come up with some kind of like an interesting way of grading these. Like, more than just like a stars or letters or something. We need to come up with like an actual, like, some kind of like a countdown of our own or something. If anybody has any recommendations on that, leave your suggestions below.
Well, I was thinking like Paw Princess, there's a Screen Pops.
Yeah, like 5 paws or something.
Yeah, or something like that.
I was going to say if we wanted to like, what would be the dog rating system?
Or like biscuits or...
I give this movie 2 tennis balls that you pretended to throw but actually hid behind your back. I don't know. Until we come up with something, let's just do like letter grades or something, because I think that gives us a little bit more freedom. What would you give it?
I guess an A-.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where I'm at on this A- too, because like I said, this movie is not a big sweeping epic. It is a family, it is a movie about family. And it wants to keep it small. I think it succeeds, but I gotta take some points off because, I still think they could have done more in this, like, just had more stuff to it. I didn't really feel full afterwards. That's what I meant to say. Like, going back to the seafood restaurant metaphor, it gave me this great tasting salmon, but it wasn't a total plate full. Like, I was...
I want dessert.
Yes. I was looking at that dessert menu. So
I also want to point out that when you guys do see Brave, make sure you sit through the credits for the extra scene at the end.
There is, which I don't think Pixar's ever done that before.
I don't think so either. I think they've only done like the bloopers during the credits or something. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So sit through the entire credits because it is worth it. But yeah, fantastic performances all around. Great comedy, very touching. It's just not as big as we might have liked it. At least that was my biggest critique with it. Yeah, did you have anything else bumping it down for you? Or?
No, it's like basically the same thing.
Exactly. It just did not totally fill me up. So yeah, A- from the both of us. I guess on screen that'd be somewhere between a 4-star or 4.5. It's right. Yeah, it's like 4.2 or something. But yeah, so everybody go out there, check it out, and don't pay attention to the other critics aside from us.
Make your own decisions. Choose your own fate of this movie.
Ooh, I like that. We'll end it on that.
Yes.
Screen Pups out.